There we go. Very good game, Master 86. Very good game. Negative 415 life in Mythic. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. For today's Mythic Jank video, we are going to be playing the combo of Zendikar's Roil and Risen Reef. Risen Reef reads, whenever another elemental enters the battlefield, look at the top card of your library. If that's a land, put it straight onto the battlefield. And Zendikar's Roil reads, whenever a land enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 elemental. Elemental being the key word here, so every time you play a land, you're going to create an elemental, which is going to trigger Risen Reef, which is going to look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, it's going to come back into play, which is going to trigger Zendikar's Roil again. And you can see how easy this is to go infinite, especially if you have 2 Risen Reefs, because then you're getting 2 chances to hit, and you only need to hit 1 land for it to trigger twice again, or if you have 3 copies or 4 copies. The way that we are going to achieve this is we do run 4 copies of Risen Reef and a collection of other elementals. We have 4 Neoform in the deck because we can sacrifice the Leafkin Druid or the Lotus Cobra in order to search for a Risen Reef. We have 3 Finale of Devastation because, as you're going to see, when you go infinite and you basically empty out your entire library, all of those lands are going to hit the battlefield, and all of those lands are going to trigger Lotus Cobra, giving you a stupid amount of mana, which you can then pump into Finale Devastation to smack in for the win. If you don't have Finale Devastation, or you've already used it searching for the Risen Reef, we also have 1 Jace, Wielder of Mysteries in here. So when our deck is empty, we can just plus him and win the game because we're drawing a card without any cards in our library. We have 2 Collective Company in here just to hit what we're looking for. 1 Reflections of Littjara, because it's a bit of a meme card to double up every elemental you play. 2 Ashaya, because it is important, because it makes every non-token creature that enters the battlefield a forest, which is going to trigger the Lotus Cobra. 2 Ancient Greenwardens, because it is also elemental and it's going to double up any landfall triggers and allow you to play lands from your graveyard. 3 Storm the Festival, because it hits absolutely everything we could be looking for aside from Ancient Greenwarden. All of these landfall effects are important, not just for Lotus Cobra, but also to trigger the Zendikar's Roil, and it is very easy just to go infinite in a single turn, empty your library, and you can either win by smacking your opponent for 1000 damage, like you're going to see later on in the video, or you win with Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. I had so much fun playing this deck. I hope you enjoy watching. We go against some top tier Mythic decks and manage to secure the win. If you do enjoy the video and you do enjoy the channel, please consider subscribing down below. But without further ado, let's get straight into the games. Going first, lands are a little bit awkward, though we have a Risen Reef and the Zendikar's Roil in hand. So it's all just about surviving. Though seeing as this dude is 378 on the rank ladder, I can't imagine that's going to happen really. Surely he's playing the Wizards aggro, the Is It aggro, or discard, or something absolutely gross. Or are you the really cool spicy 5-color deck that I'm sometimes seeing in the game with Niv-Mizzet Reborn? I don't know. Let's see what any target has in store for us. Hopefully we can draw through to a land. If we get a land, then the engine possibly stands a chance of getting going. Double Zendikar's Roil. No land, unfortunately, though at least next turn, worst case scenario, we can sacrifice this and find ourselves a Risen Reef. Because as soon as we hit 5 mana, it should be pretty much game over. But Lotus Cobra isn't going to live. There's the Lightning Helix. It's a land, but it is a tap land, unfortunately. Do we care about the Healer of the Glade? You know what, I'm actually going to keep it there, because we do need to play something that is going to trigger the Risen Reef. And we can always Neoform it to find something a little bit bigger. It is a very suspicious hand that you have, my friend. I can't imagine this is even going to hit the battle. It hits the battlefield, though it's not going to live, is it? Who am I kidding? It's going to zap it. Second Lightning Helix. Nice, nice, nice. Can we hit a land? We can hit a land, thankfully. So, if we can draw through to another land, then Zendikar's Roil stands a chance. And we can actually, like, chain this together. We can Healer of the Glade, Neoform it into a Leafkin Druid, and then Neoform the Leafkin Druid into a Risen Reef. And I'm going to imagine he's running quite a bit of board wipes, so it should, wow, game, come on. It hopefully is going to be the case that we're just going to have to win in 1 turn when he's tapped out, because if he settled the wreckage does when we're trying to combo off, it'd be kind of hilarious. So, I believe we can actually get another Risen Reef down. If he has more spot removal, it is unfortunate for us. Are you running Pact of Negation? That would be super spicy if you are. I mean, that'll be your entire next turn. That has to be what he has, right? Unless he's just sat in full control. it's just going to be that. So we need to play this smart. We need to get the Lotus Cobra. We need to crack the Fabled Passage. Find ourselves a forest. Tap it for an island. And then Neoform again into hopefully our Risen Reef now, and we can find a land off the top of that. Pact of Negation. Very nice. I mean, that's his turn. Nice. Rather heartbreaking, to be honest. Though, finally we get a land. We can get Zendikar's Royals into play. And, I mean, I suppose this is another way of having a win con. If they just get rid of everything else, play a bunch of Zendikar Roil, and every time you play a land, you're creating a bunch of creatures. Could work out quite nicely. Also kind of happy that I knew it was Pact of Negation. So do we actually want Reflections of Littjara to come down? I think so. I think it'd be kind of spicy, unless of course it gets countered. We only run one in the deck. There are ways you can build this deck with multiple copies of it, but just because it is elemental, just because it is rather expensive to have like 3 or 4 copies of this as well as Zendikar's Roil. But at least you know now we play Healer of the Glade. It's going to make a copy of it. And how many? He's only got rid of 1 Risen Reef at the moment. He discards double Fateful Absence, so I read that as he definitely has board wipes. What? Excuse me. 1 mana, create a blue crab token and investigate. Cool. I mean, I would I would never imagine to see this in a Mythic deck, but I must be wrong, seeing as he's in the 378th in Mythic. He's tapped out, but that does not mean that he does not have Pact of Negation. Thankfully, we drew Finale of Devastation, so we can... let's pick it up from our graveyard, just so we can leave copies of it in our library that hopefully we can draw through to. This is... Oh, it's whenever you cast, it's not whenever it enters the battlefield. That's a little mistake on my behalf. Though he does have a rather, a nice setup on his board state, so we might be a little bit hesitant of just board wiping. Fingers crossed he doesn't have more Lightning Helix or targeted removal, because the Risen Reef really needs to stay on the battlefield. 3rd Lightning Helix. That is just our luck, really. But it's okay. It's okay. We can gain quite a bit of life from Healer of the Glade. Hopefully we can God draw into a Risen Reef. That would be pretty perfect. We do not get it, unfortunately. So whenever a land enters the battlefield, do we just want to try to double trigger this? I don't think... no. Unfortunately, we need the life gain from this. So even if he does counter Healer of the Glade, which would be the most random thing for him to counter, because it is a copy upon cast, it is going to land down anyway, even if he does counter the first one. It'd be the strangest thing to counter. Okay. Gets our life total back up just a little bit. And with double Leafkin Druid, we do have quite a lot of mana next turn, because these tap for 2. So this is 4 mana just sat there anyway. And now we get a 2/2. Not like a ballerina though. And just like that, our board state is not very aggressive, but at least it is rather defensive, and we do gain the 6 life from Healer of the Glade. Maybe this deck is a bit more competitive than I thought. Okay, so he's obviously going to go creature. Instant. Okay, I mean, I don't think we even run any instants in this deck. Maybe thinks we have bounce spells or something. Finally, we draw through to a Risen Reef. Shame that we couldn't get it next turn, though at least we're getting double copies of it. Can we steal the win? Again, from a good, actual top-tier Mythic deck that should definitely be able to beat ours, but it's just one of those janky combos. We haven't played a land this turn, so I'm going to decline, so then it does not enter tapped, and we can actually crack it. And maybe we can get this train rolling. Double Risen Reef. There is the Finale of Devastation, which I think is probably just going to be used to pick up a Lotus Cobra. So if we go ahead and tap this... Yeah, so we hit this for 2. That's correct, yeah. Hit this for 2. He still is holding priority, I think. So maybe he still did have Pact of Negation, but Lotus Cobra is going to come down. Now we can play our land, gain... I think we actually might have got him. I think back-to-back games, we actually might be able to get this stupid endless elemental combo off. Let's go ahead, tap for green, drop down a second Lotus Cobra just to make sure that we have enough mana to do everything that we possibly could want. Let's go ahead, crack the Fabled Passage, grab ourselves a forest, thinning out the deck nicely, and with double Risen Reef, even just one proc gives us a solid chance of hitting a land. Case in point, which is going to make another elemental. You've seen how this deck is playing. You see that it's jank, but this is some, in my opinion, this is some S tier jank right here. Like, this guy's built a proper solid deck. He had good answers, good removal to all of what we could possibly, you know. He got rid of Risen Reef twice, which is actually pretty huge for him to do. So now if we go ahead and drop the Ancient Greenwarden, everything is going to trigger twice, and we're actually going to get 2 copies of it, so everything is going to trigger 4 times. So 1 land enters the battlefield, and it's going to net us 4 mana from the Lotus Cobra. There is a chance that he just concedes, possibly. Like, I'm just trying to think what cards he could still have in hand. Like, he could have Pact of Negation, so he can counter the Jace. Though, maybe we can try to play around it and, you know, try to get both off the Jace and the Finale of Devastation. We should still have 1 in the deck. We do run 3. Yeah, thankfully we run 3. Decline. Don't need to pay for the breeding pool. Yeah, we've got him. 100% got him. Our library is going to filter out nice and empty. And we are going to have an insane amount of mana with the Lotus Cobra to play around with. Take action. He did protection from instants, so creatures definitely stand a good chance of smacking in.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
Highlight it. Is this only as a... I can't... I want to make sure that it's only as a sorcery. Because if he can do that at insta speed and then give himself protection from creatures, we definitely need to use the Jace as our win con. So we have an insane amount of mana in our mana pool right now. I think it's going to be enough so we can Finale of Devastation and Jace as well. I am going to Finale of Devastation first, just in case he is running another Pact of Negation. We don't have anything. Probably be the wise move to have something to pull cards back from our graveyard, like Regrowth, in case he like counters the Jace and then gives himself protection from creatures or something. That would be a rather hilarious way for us to lose, and I wouldn't even be that mad at it. So our library is completely empty at this point. And even more triggers, because that was all those triggers were only from the very first, from the copy of the Ancient Greenwarden. Okay, so now, is this insta speed? Create a token that's a copy of, except it has haste. It is. So we can do this for 25 or something? If we do this for 25, we're still leaving enough mana open for the Jace. So he's going to go ahead and he is going to give himself protection from creatures, but that is okay with me, because little does he know, I actually need to do it now, because if I go to combat, I'm going to lose all of this mana. So if he has Pact of Negation, hats off to you, good sir. If you have another Pact of Negation, and you can give yourself protection from creatures, very nice indeed. That is going to be a big oops on my behalf. Nope, Jace comes down. So let's just go ahead. We're going to draw 2 cards because we know that he can create a copy of this and give himself protection from creatures. And Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, is going to give us another win in Mythic. This is working pretty well. Let's go. Opponent's going first, though I like this as we do get a turn 3 Neoform into the Risen Reef. Let's go ahead, scry. No need to drop the Fabled Passage immediately. I actually think I am going to keep the land because worst case scenario, we're just slowly working up to Storm the Festival. If we can actually live that long against the blue-white artifact aggro. Gets the 1 up to down, so I'm going to presume Shadow Spear into all like glitters or something like that, which is going to be pretty bad news for us. Though hopefully we can just get this elemental train rolling would be rather nice. Against Sivon in Mythic, who is having a very solid start. Don't quite understand why he wouldn't attack right there. We do actually have the Risen Reef in hand. Very nice. Just take the opportunity to drop it down now. Get us our Lotus Cobra. So if all goes to plan, we should hopefully try to be able to get this combo off as quick as possible if we still are actually going to live, because he is going in deep on the artifact damage here. Do I actually care about blocking one of these? I'm going to not block here and just sort of risk it for the combo. We just need to get it rolling. So I think if we go ahead, drop the Lotus Cobra down, if he doesn't have counter spells or bounce spells, drop the Fabled Passage, we are just going to immediately, well not immediately, we're just going to go for green on this. Go ahead, crack this, thin out the lands a little bit, going to pick up another forest, again for green. So now, we could Collective Company, though we do run the risk of not hitting anything at all, or we go for the second Risen Reef. I think we try go for the second Risen Reef here. We just, I mean, as I said, we just need to try get this combo off as quick as possible and as fast as possible, and double Risen Reef is definitely the play for that. He does have some form of response in hand. Hopefully it's not a count. I mean, I can actually pay the 3, so I'm not too upset about that one. I mean, we do lose the mana a little bit. There we go. Get the Risen Reef. Get some more triggers in play. Third Risen Reef and an extra Lotus Cobra. So we are taking quite a bit of smacks next turn. But if we can Storm the Festival, hopefully pick up the enchantment that we need to try to go infinite would be pretty good. Double Risen Reef in hand sort of more or less almost guarantees the fact that we can actually get this off. Do I want to block? I think I need to block. This has trample, so there's no point in blocking that there. This is going to be a bit of a tight one, but it is possible. It is still possible, and that is what matters. So we 3, 4, 5. If we hadn't have blocked, we would have been able to Storm the Festival, but we can go drop the Lotus Cobra because it's effectively free with the Fabled Passage. And we are just going to have to Collective Company and honestly just hope for the best. So go ahead, Collective Company. Do I care about this 1 mana? No, I will pay it. I mean, he might have... Alright, at least we got an elemental. At least we get some triggers going. Can we... Another Storm the Festival, a bit unfortunate. No lands. Really no lands game. Oof, okay. So now we just cross our fingers and pray that we can somehow survive. At least we do have the 3 life from the healer of the Glade, which is slightly helpful. Though this is a big 8/8 trample lifelink. He's drawing through to a lot of cards. I'm going to presume he has more Metallic Rebuke. So see, no way he doesn't swing in. Last Casket. Oh, I'm really going to get rid of a Risen Reef, buddy. I'm playing meme jank stuff. Just let me be. Okay, so this should now take us down to 1 HP, right? It's going to take us down to 1. We are going to need a bit of a miracle to pull this off. Okay. So, first thing we do is, well, I say the first thing, I think Storm the Festival is going to be our only solid bet here. You know what, I'm going to decline, because if we don't win this turn, he's going to win next turn. So we get the Ashaya, get Zendikar's Roil. Very lucky that we actually get a creature that is going to proc and try to get this combo off. Though we just need to be hitting lands. Where are our lands? Not there is where. So we can... Okay, so everything is actually going to be a land here that's going to trigger Lotus Cobra. Are we actually going to do it? Are we actually going to pull this back from a good top tier Mythic deck? Just need to be hitting lands. Dude, where are our lands? I'm not seeing them anywhere. These can actually tap, so... Yeah, let's drop down a Risen Reef. So now we have double Risen Reef, so if we hit a land, which honestly at this point, thank you game, we should. We actually might have got it. We might be going infinite. there are all the lands. We have Jace in hand, so we just need to make sure that we do have enough blue mana in case we are going to deck ourselves. But we also need enough mana to play Leafkin Druid. Keep an eye on how many cards we actually have left in our library, because this is some fantastical jank right here in Mythic, getting infinite creatures, infinite triggers off against a good top tier Mythic deck. Hopefully we can take the win here. Starting to wonder how many lands I even run in this deck, seeing as I thought there was a lot more, unless the shuffle is just being a little bit weird. But we actually might have got him right now. So we're going to be decking ourselves double. So every time a land comes in, we're going to be creating 2 elementals, which are going to trigger the Risen Reef for 2 more procs. So the chances that it doesn't hit a land, relatively small. Make sure we are having the 3 blue mana needed to play the Jace, because it's all on a technicality of words here. But I mean, Risen Reef doesn't technically draw you the card. So even if you have 0 cards left in your library, you can still play the Jace. You're not going to immediately lose for the fact that you're drawing a card while your library is empty. And you can play the Jace. We get another land, 10 cards left in our library. We might have actually pulled it off with 4 life. If you're new to the channel and you're enjoying this jank and this is the sort of stuff you like to see in Mythic, please let me know with a comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. 7 cards left in the library. So if we now go ahead, oh, not the Ashaya, sorry, the Ancient Greenwarden still leaves us the lands, the mana needed to play Jace, and this should be it for the rest of our library. Completely thinning it out, and this is why, I mean, this is one of the combos that as soon as you get it rolling, you don't even need like more than 1 Risen Reef and 1 Zendikar Roil, really. Definitely makes the combo much easier to get off, and yeah, I believe we've got him. So I'm just going to go ahead, drop our Jace, make us draw a card, and there we go, taking the win in Mythic. Let's go! I'm going to keep this. Opponent is going first, though we do have a nice hand into Collective Company, or worst case scenario, Finale of Devastation for 5 to pick up the Risen Reef. Rather expensive hand at the moment, very much hoping it can play off. Looks like we are playing against Mono Black. Thankfully we aren't a Reanimator graveyard deck, otherwise Boseiju would absolutely shut us down. This is probably going to be for 5, so we can slot it there. Next turn we can Collective Company. Will I presume sacrifice a creature? Yep, so you don't give us the mana. Okay, Liliana of the Veil doing Liliana of the Veil things. Honestly, super annoying card to go against. I've played, I mean, if you're in Mythic, you're going to be seeing this a lot. I know it's in one of the main meta decks at the moment. Let's just see what he has. We can discard one of the Ancient Greenwardens. I mean, by the time we have 6 mana, hopefully we have the combo off. Otherwise, we've probably lost. This is sort of an all or nothing deck. Yep, I'm going to discard a card. That's okay with me. Get rid of the Ancient Greenwarden. And he's getting rid of Leyline of the Void. Rather unfortunate draw for you, my friend. It'd be nice if you had it in your opening hand. Though he has built this very nicely against graveyard decks. Can we... We don't have any 1 mana drops to try and... like a Llanowar Elf or something, just so we can get to the 4 mana. Because if we could get to the 4 mana, we could at least Collective Company and hopefully stand a chance of hitting maybe double Risen Reef. Is probably... well, it is the best case scenario. Take Liliana down to 1, so at least you can't make us sacrifice a creature. Yep, gonna get rid of the Lotus Cobra. If we'd have drawn a land, it would have been nice to get the Ashaya down, but at this point we are just sort of banking on hitting that 4th land and getting the Collective Company in play. Discarding a card. I think we drop off another Greenwarden, because it nicely drops off another Liliana, because the Ashaya has the key fact that it makes all of our creatures forests. Really, no land? It makes all of our creatures forests, so even if you're not drawing a land but you're dropping a creature, it is still going to trigger at least the Lotus Cobra and the enchantment. I think I'm actually just going to keep this in hand as discard fodder. Unfortunately, I mean, you know, the game's starting off a little bit slow. I'm happy with that. Almost. Okay, so thankfully, you know, Risen Reef is not drawing, so we won't just immediately die to all of the Shouldred triggers. play discards a card. I mean, he's feeling confident with his hand. Like, carry on doing this, get rid of the Baleful Mastery. Your hand must be gross, man. Thankfully, we do hit a land, and I think I might just hold off on this to stop, just to stop any removal that he, or hopefully, you know, he plays whatever cards he has next turn, leaves us alone to Collective Company, and yeah, just see if we can get this going. How much life he gains isn't really much of a bother to me. Neither is our life total. You know, as this deck has proven, you can win on like 2 life. So now we Collective Company and are absolutely beautiful. Double Risen Reef. He only has 1 mana available, so it's going to be rather unfortunate if he does have the Fateful Push, I think it is. There is the combo piece we need. Do not discard it, please. Please don't get rid of the Zendikar's Roil. Go on, get rid of the Finale of Devastation. Go on, we're ramping up on mana. Don't see the combo. He's going to... Surely he gets rid of the Zendikar's Roil, right? Surely. I mean, we have double Finale of Devastation, so it's probably not the wisest. No, don't take it. Don't take it, please. Yeah, I'm going to guess Ashaya or Zendikar's Roil. I mean, at least Ashaya is an elemental, so it will proc the Risen Reef triggers. Which we're going to have to see. We do have Fabled Passage, so if he leaves us the Zendikar's Roil, we at least get 1 trigger of it. And hopefully that's going to be good enough. Oh, he gets rid of Finale Devastation. Nice. Hopefully it's going to be good enough to actually get this train rolling. Each player discards a card.
Don't overthink.
So Finale of Devastation is just going to pick ourselves up. Another elemental, actually. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is only for 1. Let's just drop this off. He's getting rid of a Shouldered. Don't have Fateful Push. Okay. Nice. Very, very nice indeed. So, we drop the Zendikar's Roil. Hope that he doesn't have enchantment removal. Crack this. Pick ourselves up a forest. And hopefully we can go infinite from here onwards. Please. Come on, we've got 2 triggers. 2 chances. No. And no. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Okay. Though at least next turn we are going to get multiple triggers. We have the Ashaya and the Leafkin Druid, both of which are elementals, both of which are going to trigger Risen Reef. He is paying to draw with the Maze Mind's Tome, so at least he does have the mana for Meathook Massacre. That would absolutely decimate us at the moment. Don't need the Reflections of Littjara. Okay, that's all of his mana. Only 1 Risen Reef left. It's rather unfortunate, but I think it should be okay, because we are going to get double triggers now. Can we be... I was going to say, if we had... We could be exceptionally greedy, try play one of these, but then we don't actually have the mana to do anything. Storm... well, we can play Ashaya. Everything's going to become... These are going to be able to tap 4 mana. Zendikar's Roil is going to trigger. I'm actually going to decline, so we can play the land, because we have not played a land for turn just yet. Go draw. The Neoform is very nice to see there. So, okay, so I'm going to go drop the Leafkin Druid. It is an elemental. Very unfortunate that he got rid of one of our Risen Reef. Though, I decline that, I don't need to pay for the shock. Though, as it stands at the moment, if he doesn't have a board wipe, we could just go wide and win that way. Love to see so many lands on top of our library. Not very often you actually ever say that. Alright, yep, take action. All of these triggers. Let's get all of the elemental. Wow, that's like, what, 5 lands in a row or something? 6 lands in a row? Something's wrong with the shuffler, but I'm not complaining. There is the Lotus Cobra that we need in order to start making mana and try to go as infinite as possible. So, the hopeful play now is we can hit a land. We hit a lot of lands off the top of our library. Yeah, I did not think so. The Lotus Cobra triggers itself, but we don't unfortunately have anything for 1 mana. So now we pass the turn, and it's going to be the case of, does he have a board wipe? If he has a board wipe, or he has what is it, the 6 mana black worm, Massacre Worm, that gives everything -2/-2, and then for each creature that dies you lose 2 life. That would be, I wouldn't even be mad at that one. That would be a rather meme way to lose. Though, you have to see, he's looking at our board, he's looking at the combo, he's thinking, what is this nonsense, Jank? We got 12 2/2 elementals, and next turn I can definitely see us just being able to go infinite because we can sacrifice the Leafkin Druid to get another Risen Reef or Storm the Festival. Invoke Despair. Okay, so let's get rid of one of you. Unfortunately, he's getting rid of our Zendikar Roil. That is a rather shame. He's sitting on 39 life. I mean, we might just have him on the attacks because he has to block the Ashaya. And then he's going to take 22, 23, 24. No, we actually don't win just on the attack. Let's just see. Blood Chief's Thirst. Very nice. At least we can Neoform the Healer of the Glade and pick up another Lotus Cobra. Yep, we should still have one in the deck. Down to 13. So we have a lot of mana to play with here. Drop the Zendikar Roil. Let's actually tap that for green. Go ahead. Neoform Healer of the Glade to pick up the last Lotus Cobra in our library. And get this infinite combo train going. Honestly, like, this deck has worked very well for me in the past, but I am relatively happy at how well it does seem to be working in Mythic, because it is one of those janky combos that, you know, it either works or it doesn't, and so far it is definitely working. This should be giving us enough triggers now to thin out the rest of our deck. Thankfully we do have the Jace in here, though we have to see. Another way I could build it that I did think is to put Nyxbloom Ancient in, just so all of the mana taps for a lot more, and it's a bit easier to get Finale of Devastation off. But yeah, I mean, this is going pretty well, right? Hopefully, I mean, I understand if he concedes. It's one of those, it's definitely one of those combos that you sort of look at and you're like, yep, there's nothing I can do. Honestly, the fact that Risen Reef is not technically a draw and it's putting into your hand 100% saved us against the Sheoldred. Otherwise, this would be a single card to take down the combo. 5 cards left in our library. There's the Jace. Thank you very much. There's some more Ashaya. Let's just make sure we do have enough blue mana. Do we need to play anything else, or is that going to be our live? Nope, we still have... We have 1 card left in our library. But we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 mana. I think... Wait, we still have a Fabled Passage? We still do have a Fabled Passage. Okay, so this is completely going to clear our deck out now. And we're going to go for the other way of winning with Finale of Devastation. I was going to say I can crack that, but my library is completely empty. So now we have... So for 17, so we can... Whereas Finale of Devastation? So we can Finale of Devastation for 15, I believe. Yep, let's go ahead. 4-15, search our graveyard. Just get a big boy, Ancient Greenwarden. Thankfully he has no mana in his hand, otherwise this could definitely have gone badly. Though, are we actually going to be able to show multiple win cons here? So we can even drop the Jace, so there's both win cons. Finale of Devastation making everything ridiculously big, or the Jace for the win in case we mill ourselves out. That is another Mythic win with the Endless Elemental Jank deck. I'm loving it. If you are too, let me know with a like and comment on the video. Maybe subscribe if you haven't already, because this is the type of fun stuff that I enjoy making, and I hope you guys enjoy watching. I wonder how much damage this actually is. So on this stack alone, it's 170, then it's 187. Wow. While this guy is timing us out, can we do the math? So if my math is correct, it's 454 damage coming in a Mythic game. Both win cons. Absolutely love to see it. Nearly 500 damage from our combo in Mythic. Let's go. This guy obviously and understandably is a little bit salty that he has a very good deck and he's just been outplayed by a bunch of elementals. Being killed by what can only really look like plants on steroids. Very nice. I'm happy to see it. I'm very happy to see it. And there we go. After a little bit of waiting, he's used all of his timers out. Pass next to damage. And there we go. Very good game. Master 86. Very good game. Boom. Negative 415 life in Mythic.